a very relatable example. So the problem at hand is, well, let's try to understand the problem at hand with a very relatable example. So the problem at hand is observing what agent is doing, and this is becoming very popular, and this has emerged as a separate category in AI space altogether, agent observability. We are going to understand why this is so critical, and we are going to understand with our own life example. I want you to go back to the time when you were a teenager. Okay? When you were a teenager, then you had certain rules of the house under which you had to live. For example, you can do few things in the house, you can't do few things in the house, and your parents will make those rules, right? Can you go out of the house? Of course you can go out of the house, but you have to be within a boundary. For example, there are things you can do, there are things you can't do. So I'm talking about house rules. I'm talking about guardrails. Guardrails means boundary in which you have to operate. I'm talking about owning the mistakes or owning the results. So when a teenager does a crime, for example, the parents need to own that, right? So if your agent does a mistake, you as an AI practitioner need to own that. You can't say that agent did this, so what can I do, right? So I'll say here ownership. Now all these things that we have experienced in our life, you can treat this like agent is your baby, agent is your teenager kid, and you are the guardian. So you need to keep an eye on agent. That is nothing but observing and tracing your agent. Now why this is so important? Very simple to understand. If you observe your agent, you will know everything about behavior of the agent, and that will help you a lot in various perspective. For example, if you can know about latency and cost with every call that agent is making. So when I say call that agent is making, how the calls will look like? Suppose this agent, here is an agent, and this agent can call some tools, right? This agent can invoke large language model, and this agent can do multiple things. What is the meaning of observability is I should know what was the first step agent did, what was the second step agent did, what was the third step agent did. Within the first step, let's say the first step was a tool call, right? Within the first step, what was the input output combination, right? What was the input plus output combination? What was the cost? What was the latency? All these things, if I know, it can help me in multiple ways. So I am writing here few things that I expect to know when I observe my agent. So I want to know at every step what is the latency and cost. If I know this, I can make my system better, efficient, cheaper, and scaling will be easier. I also want to know the input and output. Why I want to know this? So that which part of the system failed, in case it failed, I should know. I should have the logs of all the inputs and outputs, so that tomorrow if some regulators ask me, hey, why did your agent behave like this, I have an answer, right? I know for which parts my agent is doing good and for which parts my agent need to improve by looking at input output combination, right? I should also know what is the token count that my agent is calling tools with, my agent is calling LLMs with. So is there some garbage token, is there something that should not go? All these things I should know. I should also know the sequence of call. So for example, imagine if there is an orchestrator agent, or if there is a agent which assign tasks to the various tools or decides the step, right? I should know the sequences. And there are many things that we will be knowing when we do the agent observability, because agent is autonomous, so it can do many things. So to keep it simple, whatever the agent does, we will have a stepwise flow of what happened, when it happened, what was the cost, what was the latency, input, output, token count, all the details, and it will help us to make our system better, efficient, little more predictable, and most important, it will give you transparent outputs that you can share with your regulators, with control team, with security team, and you can have a defense mechanism if somebody tells that agent is whatever agent is doing, nobody knows. So if you do this, you know, then all those codes you can find. So for example, go here and search for Python SDK and you will find those. So what we should do is we should go to Google and search for LangFuse. And as you can see, the first link here is LangFuse official website. So what is LangFuse basically? LangFuse is one of the way or one of the package or one of the framework through which you can do LLM or AI observability. As you can see, this is open source LLM engineering platform. Means you no need to add any card to start using this. So I think it's a very good place for you to learn about AI observability here. And as you can see, it says traces, evals, prompt management and metric to debug and improve your LLM application. So all these things are related to observability or tracing itself. Okay. Very first thing what we will do is we will click on this sign up. And since I have already created a LangFuse account, so it will directly go to my account. As you can see, it is going to my account. Inside my account, I have an organization called UFDS. So it will ask you to create an organization. You can create an organization with any name. Okay. Once you create this, then what you can do is you can simply click on new project. Okay. And once you click on this new project, what will happen is a new project can get created. So here I will say demo project today. Okay. So demo project today will get created. And inside this demo project, we should create API keys. What are the API keys? If you click on create new API key, you are going to get two keys. One key is called secret key and another key is called public key. Remember, these are important, otherwise your trace will not be visible. One key is called secret key, another key is called public key. Keep a note of these two keys, and in the environment variable, there is an option of adding it. But in our demo now, I'm going to show you directly in Google Colab how you can use these keys, just to give you a first level view of how these things work. Okay. So there is a sheet here, very simple sheet, and it directly comes from GitHub of LangFuse basically. So if you go here and say GitHub, right, then all those codes you can find. So for example, go here and search for Python SDK and you will find those notebooks, those codes basically that I'm using. So SDK, and here in the quick start, right, these are the things that I'm doing. So I'm taking the code from here only, but let me walk you through this. First of all, I'm installing LangFuse OpenAI and just clicking upgrade so that it upgrades if there is an old version. Okay. So as you can see, it's running now and it will install LangFuse OpenAI and basically the latest version here. And then two things you saw here, right? Public key and secret key. Those two things are important to put here. So for example, if you come here, right, I'm saying os.env LangFuse public key. Your public key will come here. Okay. Secret key, your secret key will come here. And LangFuse base URL will be this cloud.langfuse.com. That's it. These three lines you need. And since we will be using OpenAI, so OpenAI key also you need. In my notebook, I have stored my OpenAI key in my secrets on the left. Okay. So here OpenAI key and this is my key. So if you add in Google Colab secrets like this, you can simply access it using these commands from google.colab import user data and then OpenAI key is equal to this. It's simple. You can do this, or if you want, you can simply say os.env this key is equal to, simply paste your key. Anyway, this is for learning purpose, OpenAI key. I will run this part as well. And remember, these two keys from my case is from my LLM project. Okay. So if you remember, I showed you multiple projects, right? So one of the project is my LLM project. Basically I'm taking the keys from that project. So when I run, the traces will come in that project only. Okay, so I have put those keys, I have put my OpenAI key, and then I am simply saying from language OpenAI import OpenAI. This is simple, and I will run a command here. So as you can see, I am saying test chat model GPT 4o. This is the message. You are a very accurate calculator. Your output only result. You output only the result of calculation. This is user. This is content, and I am calling LLM. So this is not an agent yet, but just a LLM call. As you can see, this has completed, and now I will go to my page. I will go to my tracing on the left hand side, and I will just refresh it. And if I refresh it, I am expecting to see that on the top. Okay, so today is 26/3, not 25/3. So I'm expecting that thing to come on the top. So as you can see here, 26/3, 12:51. This is when I'm shooting this, and let me click on this. So if you can see, guys, this is very important thing that I wanted to show you. Test chat is the name I gave here. Okay, if you see test chat, in the test chat there is an LLM call. So if you see here, this is an LLM call. So latency is 1.99 here. This is the cost. These are the token counts. This is temperature, top P, these things, basic things. And then if you can see here, right, this is what my system message, this is what my user message, this is what the assistant told me. Okay, and these are some additional things I send. For example, some meta key is equal to some value is there in my code. So if you see here, right, some meta key is equal to some value. So just to see that it is also getting captured. Then scores is a different concept. So let's not go to scores now. But this gives you a very good idea of all the important things. What was the input? What was the output? What was the cost? How many tokens, etc. So this is a very simple way in which you can observe what your AI system is doing. Same way you can apply this on agents as well. But for now we are doing it on a basic GPT call. Okay. So let me walk you through the project that we are going to build. And through this project, we will understand various concepts of agent observability and agent tracing, right? So the approach I am going to take is, I will explain you what this project is all about. Then I will walk you through the code base at a high level. Then I will show you the demo where you will understand how the tracing is happening. And after this, what we will do is, we will try to understand various other concepts of agentic observation through same project, but we will go deeper into that. So this will be the first level where I will explain you what this project is, how the code looks like, and how the flow is. And after that, in level 2, we will understand more important concepts of agentic observability. Okay. So first of all, what is this project all about? So this project, you can think of an HR onboarding assistant agentic platform. Okay. So what this project is HR onboarding assistant agentic platform, you can think of. Suppose there is a new employee joining in an organization, and then new employee might be having some queries. So this agentic framework will help that new employee. How the flow will be? So we have 3 different agents. So A1, okay, then A2, and then A3. 3 different agents. What this agent will do? So one is the parser agent. Parser agent means it will take the employee information and basically parse it in a consumable format or usable format. Second is QA agent. QA agent means it will have knowledge base and it will answer queries of employee. And third is task agent. Task agent means this agent is responsible for telling you, here are the tasks you should do, here are the onboarding tasks, here are the things you should do when you join in next 10 days, and so on and so forth. So 3 agents, A1, A2, and A3. On top of this, there is one more agent, which is basically an orchestrator agent. So I'm writing here O. O means orchestrator. What is the use of this agent is, this part is very, very important to understand. This agent will decide which of these agents to call and when. Okay. So these agents will be passed to orchestrator as a tool. There is a difference between handoffs and passing the agent as a tool. What you can do is you can do a handoff also. Handoff means A1 passes the work to A2 and then A1 vanishes, something like that. A2 passes the work to A3 and then A2 vanishes, something like that. We have seen these kind of flow in previous examples, right? But here I am trying to show you an orchestration kind of agent where there will be a central agent which can call all these agents as tool, and this guy will always be in control. Okay, so everything will pass through this guy. This guy will decide the entire flow. So you can think of this as fourth agent, the orchestrator agent. This is your agentic flow, and all of this will run inside a Streamlit wrapper. Okay, and we are not interested in fancy UI, or we are not interested in any other thing apart from how do you observe and how do you trace and how do you monitor, right? So whatever this happens inside this box, everything will get observed and traced by Langfuse. So like we saw the basic AI flow demo in the Langfuse, right? Whatever this agent does, all the calls, everything you can see in Langfuse once this agentic framework runs, right? Now I want to tell you few very basic terminologies regarding when you see the tracing, right? So just understand few basic things. I'm not going to overload you with lot of things. So first is trace. Trace is nothing but an end-to-end flow of what agent is doing in every invocation. So when I say agent, you think of this agentic framework. So basically group of agents. What my agentic application is doing end to end, that part is called tracing in every interaction I am making with agent, in every call I am making to the platform basically. Then you will hear a term called span. The meaning of span is all the activities that are happening inside the agent. So one activity. Okay, to give you an example, right? When I was explaining you 1, 2, 3, 3 steps that agent is doing. So in one there could be 1.1. Here there could be 1.11, right? So all these single things is called one span. For example, one tool got called, and here is the input, here is the output, here is the cost. That is your one span. Okay, so span is basically child of trace, you can think like that. And then there is something called as a generation. Wherever you see generation, think that an LLM is getting called. Okay, so whenever you see inside tracing, whenever you see generation, think that like LLM is getting called. So this is a very high level view of what we are going to build, what we are going to do. And I'm going to do a code walkthrough also now. But at a very high level, you have a HR onboarding assistant, 3 agents to work, 1 master. I'm just going to show you the front end of the application. So as you can see, this is HR onboarding assistant. And it says powered by OpenAI Agent SDK and Langfuse Observability. So we are using OpenAI Agent SDK and Langfuse, okay? And here you can see I'm your HR onboarding assistant. Your session ID is this. I can help you with parsing your offer letter, answering policy questions, and managing your onboarding checklist. How can I help you today? Okay, I will come and fire a query here, but first let me try to show you. This employee ID here is getting generated in absence of an employee ID. This is what is getting generated by system automatically, and this is the trace ID. This is important. This will be a high level identifier for tracing, right? So first of all, what we should do is we should ask a simple query. For example, how many vacations days do I get? So I'm firing this query, and as you can see, something is happening here, which means agent is thinking. Now, if I go to my Langfuse, right, here I should expect a new trace. Okay, so let me see first what happens here. You are entitled 20 days of paid annual leave. If you have any more queries about your benefits, feel free to ask. Something has happened here. Now let me come to the here. Okay, and you can see here 26/3, 16/6. I will click on this, and as you can see, the name of the session is onboarding session. The input is how many vacation days I get. The output is this. The session type is HR onboarding. Interface is Streamlit. latency is there, cost is there, prompt count, everything is there. So this is a simple call that is happening. Now how this entire thing is working? First of all, let me try to go to the code base and where from this 20 days of paid annual leave has come. That is also important, right? So what we will do is we will go and first understand the code. As I told you, there will be 3 agents. So let's go to GitHub parent here. So here agent observability, Agentic AI course Udemy. You can simply go do a git clone or download the code from here. Remember there is a env example. Here you need to put those 3 things. Your OpenAI key, your Langfuse public key, Langfuse secret key and Langfuse host will remain same. Okay, so change it to .env. I have just given a sample here, right? Then there are 3 folders here. These are important. First one is HR agents. How many agents should I see? 3 agents. For example, one is document parser, as I told you, other is policy QA, and third is task manager. What is the job of document parser? It will simply take some instruction. If you see here, you are a document parsing specialist. Your job is to extract structured information from employee onboarding documents, offer letters, etc. And if you give in this format, it will simply return in a usable format basically. So simple agent, document parser instructions you give like this. You call GPT 4.1 nano model and this becomes your first agent, document parser agent, right? Then what is the second agent? The second agent here is leave policy QA agent. So here we have leave policy. Here we have compensation and benefit policy. We have remote work policy. Here we have performance reviews. Here we have code of conduct. And here we have IT and security policy. Here we have onboarding. Here we have policy QA. And HR policies will be passed. This prompt will be passed. And then our agent is ready. Policy QA agent. Right? If you notice, these 2 agents are still not using any tool. This is simple instruction and prompt based agent. So I'll close this document parser agent and I'll close this policy QA agent. The third agent is using some of the tools. So if you see here, it is importing from tools.task tools, import create onboarding task, get task list and update task status. Where from it's importing? It's importing from tools.task tools, which means this agent has access to tools. And where are those tools? Those tools are in our tools folder. Okay, so let me show you that. In tools folder, if you go right, there is task tools. And here you will see those functions or those tools. Create onboarding tasks. So these are the base tasks. So these tasks will be there for all the employees. Then if you come from engineering, then these tasks. If you come from sales, then these tasks. If you come from HR, then these tasks. Finally, base task and role task will get added and final task list will get created. So basically, task list is getting created, onboarding task list. Then get task list. So basically those task list, it will get and it will just return the JSON. Then if you want to update the task status, that also can be updated. So there are some functions or some tools that our other agent is trying to use here. So see here, create onboarding task, it is importing. Get task list, it is importing. Update task status, it is importing. Here are the instructions. And finally, if you see in this agent, right, we will give those tools as a tools. Previously, we were not giving in those 2 agents. This agent, we are giving those tools as tools. So we have seen 3 agents, 2 agents without tool, 1 agent with tool. And out of all these agents, right, there is a central agent, 4th agent. That is nothing but orchestrator agent. Very simple to understand. You are HR onboarding orchestration. You are the primary point of contact. You have 3 tools. So as I told you, other 2 agents and this agent all will be passed as a tool. So parse simpler detail is 1 tool. Answer query question is 1 tool. So for this agent, right, the other agent is a tool. Think like that. Manage onboarding task is another tool. Here are the rules. Okay. And then Basically in the tools, we are giving those tools for this particular agent. This is orchestration tracing, right? In the same tracing, you will see that few other things have. So if I go back to tracing, right, in the same tracing, you will see that few other things have come because it takes some time to fetch all the data. But I went to the same page again, and you can see that in that onboarding session, the agent turn has come. In agent turn, you can see how many vacations do I get. And the response is you are entitled for 20 days of paid annual leave. At the moment it happens, right? See the parent child relation here. Okay, this is the agent turn. It is going to the orchestrator agent, and orchestrator agent, what it is doing is it is simply looking at this message and it is giving it to LLM. Now this LLM, what it will do is it will call a tool. So if you see here, right, this LLM response here, tool answer policy question is getting called, right? So input is how many vacations, output is this. Where from this is coming? From tool, from the policy QA agent, name policy QA agent, output. So if you see here, right, assistant completed message. So there will be message, there will be all the details of what it has given, right? For example, you are entitled, this is the text, this is the type, this is the role, this is the status. So here one tool is getting called. Tool is nothing but internally an agent, and then this LLM response is coming here. So if you see here, right, this is the actual response that has come. And in all these, right, you can see the time. So for example, the time for entire tracing is 10.76. 10.30 is orchestrator agent. Inside orchestrator agent, 5.50 is LLM response. And here the breakup of this you can see 1.55, 1.55, 2.76, like this. Okay, so this will mix up and be the top basically timing. So as you can see, first of all the flow will start from orchestrator, LLM is getting involved, then tool is getting called, then agent is getting called, the policy QA agent, then response is getting prepared, and then answer is coming. This is the end-to-end flow. But the main question is, how are we able to trace it? Where in our project we are saying that I want to trace this? That we will see that we have a folder called tracing here. Okay, and we have a file here called app.py and main.py. These two are important files, but first I will walk you through project reference.md. Okay, so what is project reference.md is it will tell you all the important things about the project. So basically which packages and which GPT models and so on and so forth. But this project structure will be helpful for you. So this part you already understood. 3 agents and 1 orchestrator. Tools I already give you a walkthrough. And here we will understand tracing. So in tracing, what happens is this first file langfuse setup.py is langfuse client initialization. Okay, and some more things are here, score response and plus helpers. We will see these later, but this will basically initiate your langfuse loading. So you will identify this code if you see this. So in this file, right, we are simply saying langfuse is equal to this by giving our keys, then returning some functions, this code response agent plus. So we will come back to these, but just try to understand basic setup of langfuse here, right? And then there is one more file called langfuse processor. So this is where custom tracing processor bridging OpenAI SDK to langfuse. This is the main file where we are creating a custom tracing processor. What is the meaning of custom tracing processor? So come here, go to tracing, go to tracing processor.py, and you will see there is a langfuse tracing processor here. In this class, what we are writing is how we want to do the tracing. Okay, so there are many parts of it. For example, if data type is agent, then what you should do. If it is response, then what you should do. If it is handoff, if it is function, how you should end the span, how you should do the generation. There are many things. I will touch upon this while explaining some more concepts. But for now, just understand Langfuse tracing processor is the key engine, key class through which we are doing the processing. Now, if I take this, the tracing. Now, if I take this and if I go to my app.py, right, you will see that I am simply using that. So see here, tracing.langfuse processor, import this, and the same thing you will see I am using. So if you see here, right, processor is equal to Langfuse tracing processor, which means I want to trace using this processor. And then I define my processor, and then I say set trace processor is equal to processor. That's it. And where from this set trace processor comes? It comes directly from, if you see here, agent.tracing. So from OpenAI Agent SDK, we are simply taking agent.tracing set trace processor, and in this set trace processor we are passing processor. What is the processor? It is the custom tracing processor that we have created. Only three parts of the story. Okay, first part, we are defining a custom tracing processor. Second, we are creating an object and passing it to OpenAI Agent SDK. Once that happens, right, your tracing will start happening. Okay, as I said, there are more nuances of what's happening inside. We can cover that later, but first understand this flow. Now you have covered all the important scripts in this project. So app.py, man.py, app.py is your streamlet, man.py is CLI interface for terminal testing if you want to do, and .env, what example I explained you, project references is this file. So this is your architecture. User will give input, orchestrator will come, then depending on what you want to do, tools will get called, and this is how it will work. These are your tools, these are your tasks, Langfuse trace and span, Langfuse tracing processor. These are the things which will get called, and for running this you have to simply activate virtual environment and install the dependency. Actually number 3 should come first. Create a new virtual environment, install the dependencies, and then source it, and you can simply run it by this command, streamlit run app.py. Okay, and once you run that, all your tracing will come and get captured here. So this is the entire flow. Now we have covered the first level understanding of how things are working. As I told you, there are more things to understand in tracing and monitoring, which I'll see a new capability of ChatGPT which has come in July 2025, known as the agent mode. Okay, so if you go to ChatGPT and click on plus, you are going to see something known as agent mode. So I'm choosing this agent mode, and here I can ask anything. So for example, tell me about agent mode in chat gpt UI. Okay, so what I want to execute this prompt in agent mode. Now what you are going to see here is setting up my desktop. Okay, so it will set up a desktop. The meaning of desktop is it is setting a virtual sandbox where it will run the agentic task, and now it will do all the research and gather information. So this is what agent does, right? So it will go and hit all the needed websites, all the needed knowledge areas, and it will fetch the information for you. So if you see here on the top, it is giving you all the actions it is taking. For example, opening article on agentic chat GPT, then searching for agent info, opening AI blog page. I will open the AI blog page and gather. I'm scrolling down. So all the information it is giving, confirming details, crafting summary, right? So what it is doing at high level is it is trying to tell you, okay, here is the deep research part, here is the reasoning part, here is the action part, and here is how I'm working. So basically this is how agent will work, right? It will plan, it will act, and it will give you the end goal result. And that is what is happening here. So from one prompt, I choose agent mode, no need of write any code, anything. And it is basically accessing all the resources, and it will give you the final result. This is a very interesting feature of ChatGPT, guys. And in the end, the result that will come, right, you will see it's very nice, very elaborated, and very well presented. That's what agents are for, right? So everything it should do on its own, right? So all these things it's doing, and when it finishes, right, it will give you the result. Okay, so here now we can see the agent has stopped working after 2 minutes, and you would see that it has done some research and everything that it has done. And OpenAI unveiled agent mode on 17 July 2025, and analytical depth of deep research and operator. So as I told you, right, deep research plus reasoning capabilities. And this is activation tools. It uses example task, availability, and rollout basically for pro users only. And safety and user controls are there. Then key benefits are unified workflow. So basically eliminates tool switching by integrating browsing, coding, API access, and file manipulation at one interface. So just one interface. Okay. Collaboration. So systems support iterative work. You can clarify instructions mid task, ask for progress summaries, or change direction. So those things are the capabilities of this agent mode. And limitation, agent is still in beta, so it's not like fully production ready, but OpenAI is pushing a lot on this agent mode. So you should be aware of agent mode is a powerful new capability embedded in ChatGPT that allows you to delegate tasks into multi-step tasks, basically how you use agents. You can either use it in tool or via the slash agent command. So both the ways. So now I used via tool, right? You can use slash agent command as well. And if you are a paid user, you should be able to see that. So this was a very interesting thing I thought I should show you, and hence I showed you. I'll keep bringing the updates in the agentic AI world as a dashboard again. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how can you build a agent step by step. So to coming to this screen, what you have to do is you have to go on the left hand side and click on AI agents. Once you click on AI agents, you will be inside this screen, and you have to simply click on create agent. Once you do this, first thing that will happen is it will automatically take OpenAI connection if you have already given your API key in any of the past scenarios or experiments. If you have not given, it will ask you for a OpenAI key or any key, the LLM you want to access or the AI you want to access. You can give the key and then connection will be created. Then you can name your agent something. So I will say here customer service agent 1. And then model you can take. For example, this model I'll take. Anything you can take. I'm taking a small model. You are a customer service agent. So I'm giving a simple system prompt. Answer to user queries. Okay. I'll say save. So your agent is ready now. You can chat with the agent. For example, I will say hi. Agent will say hello, how can I help you today? I will say, does my subscription auto renews? So I'm asking a specific query. Let's see what agent say. I can help with that. Most of our subscription plan automatically renew unless you cancel them beforehand, but it is not very confident. I'll say you are not sounding confident. So absolutely, let's get this sorted right away. Short answer, most of our plans. So basically it's not giving a proper answer. What I want to do is I want to add some context to the agent. So as you can see in the context, I can give background information, data, or additional context for your agent to refer. And in this additional context, I will give some FAQs my agent can refer to. What are those FAQs? If you can see, there is a agent guide.txt file I am having. How can I reset my password? Some answer. How do I change my email address? Some answer. How can't I can't log into my account? Something. Can I get a refund? Some answer. So basically a FAQ. Okay. And this FAQ I am going to add as a context to the agent. So let's go here, click on add and upload that file. So now I have uploaded that agent guide.txt. Now let me ask the same thing again and see if something changes. Does my subscription auto renews? So as you can see, now previously agent was simply giving information without looking somewhere. But now if you see agent is looking somewhere. If I expand this, right, Document name agentguide.txt. Okay, query auto renew subscription policy, and then it will see if it has something here, and then it is saying yes, subscription are automatically renewed. If you'd like to stop the renewal, something something. So basically agent is more confident now. Why? Because I gave some additional knowledge here. That is part 1 of agentic framework, basically building an agent. So agent is having more knowledge now. I have given a knowledge source to the agent. But more important thing for the agent is, let me save this. More important thing for the agent is it should have some tools to access. So if you remember, in theory I was telling you agent should access some tools and do the job, right? And tools, what are tools? These are scenarios and modules your agent can always access to make decisions and complete tasks. So I will go here and say add, and I will say add a scenario. At the moment I say add a scenario, it will say select your scenario or create new scenario. I will click on create new scenario. The scenario name I can give anything, my agent scenario 2, and description is this scenario agent should use to fetch tone and updated company information. So basically what is happening here is I have some company updated information in one of the Google document. Okay, so if you can see I have a Google document here, and here I am saying live updates and tone guide. In this document I will put live updates and announcements for my company. For example, scheduled maintenance, new feature, known issue, upcoming release, etc. Then I can put policy and seasonal notes, refund policy, privacy policy update, promotional credits, etc. Holiday support hours I can put. I can put tone and communication style. I can put escalation templates. So there are things I have put in this Google document, and what I want my agent to do is I want my agent to now refer to both the things. First, if you remember, I gave some FAQs, and second is my company updates, holiday policies, something I want to say on tones, guidance, escalations, etc. How to do that? I clicked on that new scenario, and this new scenario has opened. So this is start a sub scenario. Middle one is empty, so let's go to the middle one, and I will add a Google Doc here. Google Docs. Okay, in this Google Docs I'll say get content of the document, and my connection is already there. I need to simply give the document ID. How to get the document ID? Come here, copy link, and let me for simplicity paste the link here only. I'll delete later. And what is your ID? This is your ID. This is your ID. Okay, so come here and give the document ID and then say save. Once you say save, then you have to come to return output. So what should the scenario return? What is that you want it to return, right? So add scenario output, add item, name should be response. Okay, type should be text, default value should be nothing, and enter should be the description should be response to the agent. So what is that you want this scenario to fetch basically? So I want this scenario to fetch the output, right? Google, whatever is there in the Google document. So I'll select this and I will say save. Cool. Now let's run this if it is running fine or giving any problem. So as I can see, it is running fine. And one thing you need to be mindful here is you have to click this on demand. Okay, so let me go ahead and make one of the scenario inactive. Save changes, and I will just make this inactive and the first one active. Okay, so my scenario 2 I want to be active, and I can go here. So this scenario should be on demand, should be on. Okay, so I will say run once again. Scenario is running fine and on demand should be on. So on demand is on. Now what I will do is I will go to my agent. Okay, so add, and I will say save. I will go to my agent and I will change the prompt a bit for the agent. So what I will say to the agent is, if you read this carefully, you are a customer service agent handling account billing and product questions. Use a friendly professional tone. Follow this hierarchy while answering. First, look for relevant answer in context. Context is our agent guide. Okay. If the user asks about live or time sensitive information such as company updates, new features, maintenance schedule, policy, or holiday, call the my scenario agent. So my agent scenario 2 is the name for me. My agent scenario 2. Call the my agent scenario 2 tool to get the latest details from the connected Google Doc. If you still don't find an answer, politely escalate to a human agent. Never offer refunds or discounts unless explicitly allowed. Always combine what you find in context and tool before responding. So now my agent has both context and tool both. So what I can do, I can come here and I can paste this and I can say save. So what should happen now is, if you ask anything that is related to company updates, new feature, maintenance schedule, it should hit that tool. So let's try that. Can you tell me about maintenance schedule? So as you can see, it is going to my agent scenario 2 and it is saying thanks for reaching out. Here the detailed maintenance schedule, billing portal downtime October 15. Sometime it is taking. Is it from matching from my document is what I need to see. So yeah, if you see here, right, billing portal will be offline from this time to this time. Let's ask something. Holiday support hours. Let's ask. How about holiday support hours? So it should again go to this one, my agent scenario 2. Happy holidays. Here are the support hours for upcoming holidays. December 24, 9 to 1, December 15, December. So basically it is taking from these. So I ask one more time, same thing it is telling. So basically it is able to get the information from the tool. And now let's try to see if the FAQ thing is still working. So let's get something from the FAQ and ask. So for example, what does premium plan include? Or we can ask in other way also. Can you tell me about what is there in premium plan? Okay. What should happen this time? It should hit the knowledge base. It should hit the agent guide. So unlimited AI productivity tool, advanced analytics, and dedicated customer support. So if you match with this, includes unlimited access to AI productivity, advanced analytics, and dedicated customer support. It is giving you response in a nice way. So based on your prompt, what you are doing is you are guiding your agent to either this knowledge base or the tools. So whichever agents find is a good fit for a particular scenario,